Good morning. It's Monday, August the 5th, 2019. This is a special meeting of Commissioners Court of Grimes County, Texas. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. Welcome, everybody. Don't let them say, don't let them say Grimes County sleeps in. We're at 8 o'clock. We're at 114 West Buffington Avenue, Anderson, Texas. First item on the agenda is Grimes County Appraisal District, Mark Beneke and Shannon Sanders. They're going to present to us. We're going to receive and review and discuss Chief Appraiser's submission of appraisal roll, effective tax rate, rollback rate, and other tax adoption materials. Gentlemen.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Shannon Sanders. I'm the Assistant Chief Appraiser at the Grimes County Appraisal District. And today we have for you the effective and rollback rates for 2019. I believe on the agenda it mentioned the appraisal roll. We've already presented that appraisal roll to you at the last meeting.
Correct.
So today, does everybody have my packet? I've got copies here.
I'll take one. What is this one? I got this one.
Okay.
Is it the 26th?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Mark. I forgot one.
You got yours?
I
got one more.
It is 8 o'clock.
All right.
It is the rollback rate.
Thank you.
And the actual rates. So the packet has all the calculations for the rates. We can go over those, or I can just tell you what the rates are. They're on that sheet. The single sheet I gave you with the rollback and the effective rate definition, and the actual rates are on that sheet. So this year, your effective rate is 0.485267, and the rollback rate is 0.538755. And you see there the definitions of the effective rate. That's a rate that raises about the same amount of revenue this year if you apply it to the same properties from year to year. And then the rollback rate is the rate that you can't go over without a voter approval. So the voters can petition for an election to limit that to the rollback rate.
But the rollback rate does not exceed the current tax rate.
That is correct, Judge. My understanding is, according to the planning calendar, you would come back on August 21st and formally propose a rate, and then come in September and adopt a rate. Y'all have any questions for me? If not, that's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any commissioners? We're good?
Thank you, sir.
Auditor's office? Good? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
You folks are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. However, if you feel the need to leave, you're welcome to do that also.
Good.
We'll get a cup of coffee.
Thank you. We'll now go to agenda item number 2. Grimes County Attorney Investigator John Wren discuss and take action to approve salary adjustments.
You want me to stand up at the podium or can I stand?
We need you up at the podium, please, sir.
We recorded today. Good morning.
Good morning.
So to make
And
the
you are?
investigator Wren, I work at the District Attorney's Office for Grimes County, and I am representing the District Attorney's Office this morning.
Thank you.
Our DA is at the office. We have a murder trial we're starting in the morning, so she's down there messing with that. So the reason that our office is unexpectedly here this morning, our good judge, Tuck McLean, has poached one of our finest from our office. Laura Zaragoza is our administrative assistant. She is currently classified as a paraprofessional 2. She has been with our office for right at 25 years. She went to work there in '94, and I jokingly called her a unicorn for the last week because trying to find somebody to replace her would be about like trying to find her. So with all that said, Laura is going to Tuck to be his new court coordinator, and we're all happy for her. But that leaves our office with the challenge of reorganizing, restructuring, redistributing job duties from somebody who's been there for 25 years. There's a lot of job duties. She's one of the few people in the county that's been around longer than I have, and she's been doing things for so long that most people never even knew she did them. She does all of our office supply ordering and manages our office and keeps up with 3 different accounts that are actually maintained in our office outside the auditor's office. Anyway, I could go on and on about her. But so we have Laura's position, and we have 2 legal clerks that are in our office. And our intention currently is to replace Laura's position for the time being with another clerk, and to redistribute her responsibilities between kind of spread out over 3 people, as opposed to trying to keep all of that with just one person. So our office is going to just ask for the time being to reclassify the position that Laura held as a grade 5, which would give our office 3 grade 5 positions. Y'all give me just a second. Fighting allergies, and my throat keeps running out. So they'll give us 3 grade 5 positions, and then we're wanting to, aside from redistributing duties, we're wanting to redistribute some of the money into the salaries that is left by Laura's vacancy. 2 points on that. I know that it's the next agenda item, but this all kind of bleeds together, and Jessica and Tuck will talk more about it. But Laura has her $1.20 longevity pay that is part of her salary. And the next agenda item talks about the monies going to follow her to the other office. And I want to be crystal clear from the perspective of our office that our office does not protest that. Laura deserves that, and we don't want to do anything to stop that. She's earned that, and that should absolutely take effect. What we are asking is that a 48-cent an hour, and if I'm saying that wrong, Jess, just correct me, but a 48-cent an hour provision be allowed so that we can set the salaries for our 3 employees at an appropriate level, and the $1.20 continue on with Laura. And if y'all want me to be more specific than that, I'll be happy to, but that's the gist of it.
Well, according to our policy on the $1.20, I think that's a non-issue of discussion, because the incumbent who already has that money will take that money with them. So I think, and that's what we'll talk about in a minute, but that's not a part of the discussion. What I hear you saying is that you have 2 5s, you're going to bring in a third 5.
Yes, sir.
And then the money that would have been going to the person that's leaving, you want to distribute that amongst the remaining employees and the new hire.
As a part of the fact that we're going to redistribute duties.
Okay.
And the person that we intend to hire, we have somebody already planned that is a long-term tenured employee that's coming to us.
So you're guilty of poaching also?
Indeed.
They learn from the best.
Indeed.
One might be careful of the words they use.
Yes. Yeah. Dear friend, it's in jest. And like I said, we're happy for Laura. Laura's personal hero of mine. I've known her since I was 18, and when I was a kid starting off for the county and didn't know anything, she was one of the people that I could always call. So, but anyway, so we're going to redistribute. We're trying to bring in somebody who's already experienced. One of the big losses, and this is something that I'm really not sure if this is the appropriate time to even talk about this, but one of the reasons the person we're trying to poach or bring in, we're trying to get, is because she has her certification for TLITs to run criminal histories and do data entry into the statewide TLIT system. Our office is one of only 3 in the county that even has that system. We are considered a law enforcement agency, even though most people don't think of a district attorney's office first and foremost as being a law enforcement agency. The sheriff's office has a TLITs terminal, our office has a TLITs terminal, and Navasota PD, the only 3 in the county. You have to have a bunch of special certifications through the state in order to run that machine. There's nobody that will be left in our office when Laura leaves that is able to do that. Once upon a time, I had the certification, and I am going to spend some time and try to get it again, get my stuff back up to date so that I can be a backup person. But presently, when Laura leaves us in 2 weeks, we won't have anyone in the office that can run criminal histories. So this person would be able to do that. And I don't have any intention of asking for it today, but I would like the court to consider this person as has had that license for roughly 10 years. I can't give you the exact year she started, but she had the license for roughly 10 years. She's at a master's level. And I would also like to discuss either today or at some point in the next month, get back on the agenda to discuss the possibility of her being able to continue to get her certificate pay for that level the way she gets it at the sheriff's office. It's never been an issue at our office because we've never had anybody with a certificate to do it. Laura had it, but she only had a basic level. This person actually has a master's level. And certificate pay is only paid at a basic, intermediate, advanced, and master's. It's not paid for the basic, which is why it was never an issue with Laura. But regardless, to circle back to where we're at today, we've proposed 3 salaries. In order for those 3 salaries to be able to be done, the court would have to make a 48-cent provision. There's already money in our current budget to cover the remainder of August and September, so that really would be more of a thing for the coming budget. Am I leaving out anything? I think I've hit everything.
Is that redistributing her base amount, not the 10-year?
It's redistributing the amount minus her $1.20, and then we're 48 cents short. So
you're still 48.
48 cents short, yes, ma'am. Yeah, if the $1.20 was still in there, there would be plenty of money. But again, to be very clear, we don't want that. That needs to go with Laura.
Well, what we didn't hear you say that you just said was about the shortage.
Yes, ma'am.
Outside of the salary that's currently in that line,
Right.
you having a shortage in that line.
Of 48 cents an hour.
So currently for this year, is that anywhere within that budget or what?
Yes, ma'am. For this year, there's sufficient money in the budget now. So the 48 cents, it would only really become an issue in October.
Well, other quick questions, commissioners? But if we go along with what you're proposing, then it takes people to particular levels. I don't know that they necessarily, in particular, I don't know that one needs to be necessarily bumped to the proposed $18 an hour. And the reason I say that, John, is they're already in a grade 5. We're looking at taking them, leaving them in the same classification. You've mentioned the redistribution of workload, and some of it's going to be different work, but it's all within the grade 5 elevation or classification. And I can see where you want to utilize the money that you already have in the budget, but that's taking these folks to higher levels, and I don't know that that's, to go to the top of that one level, I don't know that that's totally necessary.
Well, the person that you're speaking of, the reason that that number was proposed, she will be the senior person in the office.
Okay.
She's been with the office for 7 or 8 years, maybe even getting close to 9. She's the person that trained the clerk that's there. She'll be the person that's training the clerk that's coming in, and she is going to get more of the upper level responsibilities that Laura had. If we continue to maintain those 3 accounts in our office, the bookkeeping part of it will be exclusively her, that the other 2 clerks have nothing to do with.
Okay,
And
but wouldn't it be more appropriate to reclassify the jobs? I mean, you're saying you want to have 3 5s in there.
Yes.
Would it not be more appropriate to take one of the 5s and say, because of the additional duties or the level of the duties, there may be worthy of a 6 or 7 or what have you? And then, of course, I'm wearing my HR hat right now, but that would justify, in my mind, a more appropriate reason for giving the money versus, okay, we've got the money here, we've already got it budgeted in our department, we're going to redistribute it to all of our employees. I understand that. I don't necessarily agree with that, because just because the monies have already been budgeted once, we could utilize it elsewhere in the county,
yes,
okay? So I don't have a problem with redistributing some of the funds, but I mean, are you, and I guess it's,
so something I didn't say, and I was really trying to avoid getting into this, but part of the issue with this too is that the 2 clerks that we presently have that are in grade 5 are far below, in my opinion, where they should be. They were just raised up and reclassified 2 years ago, and these 2 women are both making 30 cents over the very base level salary that they can make. The lowest they could make is $15 an hour. If we were to hire a 19-year-old kid 6 months out of high school that had 0 experience, they would come in making $15 an hour. Both of these people are people that are tenured county people that came to our office with court experience. One of them worked with Philip in probation for a number, both of them worked in probation for a number of years. And both of them have been with our office now, one 2 years, but has probably got 10 years of county experience. And the other one is at 7 or 8 years. So part of the problem, and this was allowing us to fix without having to ask the county for more money, was to kind of right a wrong and get these 2 people paid something that is more appropriate to their level of experience, their tenure, and something that is comparable to people within the county and other departments that are at similar tenure and do similar jobs. Because what they are currently making is, in my opinion, far below what they should be making. I mean, they've got counterparts that are making $3 and $4 an hour more than them.
that's not true. There might be some counterparts that are making almost $3, but nobody's making $4, John. If they're in the same, I mean, I'm looking at grade 5s right here in county clerk's office, district clerk's office, and the DA's office, and where yours are at $15.30, I don't disagree with you. But the other departments are 16, 17, 16, 17.37. There is one in here, 18.36, but they have, those last 2 that I called out, they have the $1.20 an hour for the tenure.
If I'm misstating that, I will apologize, but I was.
Well, no need to apologize, but I
was-
mean-
Well, I was operating off of a figure that I was
But you and I had conversation, so I wanted to do my homework, and then I asked auditors to give me a list of what are our court-related clerks, grade 5, what are they making? And I'm not disputing what you're doing. I think what you're doing is what any other department would want to do for their employees. And for a good while within the county, we know there haven't been funds for raises and increases and all of those kinds of things. Last year was the first year we did a COLA since 2013. And maybe a few merit raises have gone through in the past years, but there hadn't been much money. So I understand you're trying to correct inequities, but I think the salary structure that this court built and initiated was getting us a foundation to at least get our employees on track for the right monies. So I'll go back to my comment.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I will tell you that the middle salary of the three, for us to be able to hire her, even at that rate, she is going to take a 73-cent an hour pay cut. Even paying her that, we're just trying to bring her over laterally because our salaries currently are so low. And I didn't dare try to propose it at a lateral because I would have had to propose it at 17.72 or 3. So, and again, I'm just trying to move over laterally without, and get somebody that's experienced that can do the
Sure.
job and that's got the certifications to do the job.
And I don't have a problem with the certification. I mean, if that's something that's going to be a benefit to the DA's office and the individual's qualified, I'm only one vote, but I don't have a problem with that certification pay being applied to the individual.
That's fair.
Well, for what it's worth, John hadn't mentioned it because I think kind of takes it for granted, but the person that comes over who is TLEP certified, it's not just a matter of being able to have the knowledge to run the TLEPs, but that person is also going to be responsible for doing the annual audits when DPS comes over every year, audits the machinery, audits the security of the room, the logbooks, every criminal history that's run, every data search that's run using TLEPs has to be logged in, put in who requested it, what case it's related to, and that person is solely responsible to DPS for all of that work. And they have to also, of course, keep taking the test. But I can tell you, at least from Laura, that she did it when I was down there, the amount of work she did put in on just making sure we could keep the TLEPs terminal. Quite frankly, they're not thrilled about agencies like ours having them. We had to really struggle to get that one. It's what they call a read only. We can't like enter warrants or anything like that through the system like the Sheriff's Department or PD can. We can communicate with other agencies, but there's a lot of work that does go along with that certification, and the person who's going to be responsible for running that TLEPs beyond just having the knowledge to run the searches. They do have to make sure that the whole system and everything about how the system is maintained meets with DPS. And trust me, DPS can be a real pain in the butt when it comes to that thing.
You're on tape, by the way.
I know.
Okay.
That's why I said that word instead of something else.
Well, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I would have less of a problem on the person you're potentially trying to bring over, you know, making them more whole than the ones that are at the 1530. I mean, I don't say there's anything wrong with utilizing some of that money that's there, but you're gonna be back next year and go, we're really gonna need to have a paraprofessional in this office now, and we're gonna need to have them at $21, $22, $23 an hour, because they're gonna oversee. And that's okay. That's what next year's all about. That's another discussion. But again, it's a redistribution of work that's, well, I don't want to beat it to death, but I mean, that's already being done. Granted, some of it was being done by what Laura was doing, and I'm not discrediting her talents or her skills and abilities. But to take these two to the levels that you suggested, and then it runs us short of money within your budget, I don't see that that's the appropriate thing to do.
So your suggestion, or your thing is the 48 cents an hour. So if I cut it to where it wasn't short the 48 cents an hour, that would be sufficient.
Well, that's your interpretation of what I would say, but
I'm
what
trying to understand.
what I would say, where you have 15-30, and 15, you got one with 7 years and one with 3 years, and you know, I don't know who's going to do what in that office, but maybe some portion of that you take one of them to 1650, you take the other one to 16, or you take to 17 and 1650, something like. There's no reason you have to utilize all of that money. I mean,
So-
when I was in business, I would teach and preach to managers. I would say, spend the company's money as if it were your own. Okay. Well, we're in a role of spending the county's money as if it were your own. So if this money's coming out of your pocket and coming away from your potential earnings, would you take them to the max and even find 48 cents more to make them to the level you want? And that's a business decision, but all I'm getting at, John, just because the money's there right now doesn't mean we need to utilize all of it.
Yes, sir, and I accept that, and I originally had different numbers, and then I redid it once after Jessica reminded me of the $1.20. But of the three of what you're talking about, if we were going to do that off the cuff, then my position would be to knock the 48 cents off the top one, because I know we cannot go below 17 on the other one, the one in the middle, and get her to move. As I mentioned, it's already a 70-something cent pay cut for her just to come to our office.
Does she have today, is the 70 cent? If she came at the same level over to your office, would she stay in this, is she in a 5?
She's in her own classification because of where she's at. That they classify differently, or at least the last I knew they did.
Does the public know who you're looking at?
It's not me who I'm looking
I
at.
mean, does the public know who you're looking at?
No.
Okay. So how much does that person make?
1772 or 1773, and that's without their certificate pay. If you counted that, they're losing more.
Well, but the certificate pay is not a part of their hourly pay.
Right, I just.
That's a separate line.
I was just illustrating the point.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure you understood that didn't have anything to do with the certificate pay. So 1772 or 1773.
That's still within the range. Because it doesn't, the range goes to, the range goes to 1775, and that's without the 2.5%. Jesse, can you tell me what the top of the range is in a 5 under the October 1 rate?
I think it's
At 1875 and 2250 with the tenure.
Okay. So the transfer person would fit within that range.
They would, but what I'm saying is I can't drop below the $17 proposed with her, because she's not going to be willing to move for less than that. And so that's what I'm saying. If I was going to drop one to accommodate the 48 cents, the one I would drop is the one that's proposed at 18. I could drop her down to 1750 or 1752, and that would solve the 48 cent issue and still be reasonable.
I don't know if we're on the same track or not, but if you hire the individual you're thinking about hiring, they would come over at a particular rate, and I would not expect them to take a pay cut,
Okay.
because they're already they could come over within that range.
Yes, sir.
So if they came in at that range,
Yes, sir.
what does that do to the rest of the money that you have remaining?
There would still be money left over, but not enough for me to compensate.
To the level you want to?
Not even that, Judge. It's not about the level I want to. I would have a mutiny in my office if we brought somebody in from outside making a whole lot more money than they're already there.
But John, by what you said, they're bringing different skills and different needs and those kinds of things. And you know, I can complain all day long that the county court of law judge gets a bigger stipend from the state than I do, but it's not gonna do him any good because he's got different skills. I can do the same thing about the county attorney, but they've got different skills, so they get a different level. And alls I'm saying is if we bring this person over and we require we can utilize these skills within that department, then we pay for them.
Yes, sir.
And if the other two employees go, well, by golly, that's not right, they got some options. Get their skills up so that when those opportunities come up, they can then get those jobs. Or they can go find another job. And I don't mean to be coarse about this, but that's the way it's got to be on some of these situations.
And I understand that, which is why it's why I've got it proposed the way I do. As it is, I have her proposed at 17 coming in, and
Okay.
more than one of the two people that's already there. But the way, when Andrew and I sat down and tried to come up with what was best for our office, with the people that we had, with the skill sets that were involved, and with what they were going to be doing and the responsibilities they were going to end up with, having them structured the way that they're structured on there is what we feel like will be best for our office.
Did y'all look at any other options of
Yeah.
how you could do it also?
Yes, we've looked at a bunch, trying to navigate through this. And as I said, this is what we feel like will be the best thing for our office.
So what I hear you saying is if you had to lose the 48 cents, it would go to the,
We would take it off the person who was proposed at 18, and that would bump them down to 1750 or 1752, whichever you wanted to do.
See, the other thing is though, those other two clerks isn't gonna know what this person makes because we don't talk about salaries within the county.
I wish that were true, but it's not.
I'm waiting for the cartoon birds to fly around Disney.
It did, Judge, it's on video.
So what you're saying, we took into effect, Judge. I mean, we're trying to do what is fair for everyone. We're trying not to take advantage. We're trying to be upfront and fair with the court, with our own employees, and trying to get everyone where they're making something that is fair and commensurate with their grade level and with their responsibilities, and without trying to manipulate the system. I mean, our office does not come up here and try to play the game.
I'm not suggesting that at all.
Right, and we won't. And you mentioned the paraprofessional that we might come, but I don't really see that happening. But our office has never come up here and tried to play the game of, let me reclassify somebody just so we have an excuse to give them more money. We don't want to do that. We just want to pay the people that we have an appropriate salary for the job that they're doing.
And alls I can tell you is we're trying to play catch up to get all of our employees that are deserving to those appropriate salaries.
Yes. That's fair.
So if you don't use the 48 cents, what kind of budgetary impact is that gonna have next year?
If we don't use the 48 cents, none. It will be within what's already there. And we're within what's there for this year.
so that would leave the third clerk at the 1530?
No, you would have, those salaries.
But this one you said you could minus the 48?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And I hear you, when we got somebody that's 7 years on the job and they're 30 cents above the minimum, it's like,
Right.
that doesn't sound right.
And she's only been there for 2 years. She was, when I went to work at the office just a few years ago, she was making 14 something. She and both of those positions were just moved up 2 years ago because we did come to court and go, this isn't this.
No.
But that they just got moved up to the minimum. The 30 cents was the raise last year.
Understood. But I think the county has a good foundation, and
Thank you.
we just gotta build from here. It's just gonna take us time to play catch-up. So, I've beat on him long enough, it's y'all's turn.
And would these get the, was it 2.5% on top of that, or is this just a level deal, or?
The rates that are proposed currently and what they would go to in October, they'd still get the 2% or 2.25% raise. All of that will be with where they're supposed to be, both currently and in October, if we take out the 48 cents.
Laura, what would it be the? Okay, I had to look at you.
That's best.
Okay. What would be the difference in the upcoming budget that would be there
With,
if we did it the way Officer Rennie was proposing?
it's about 1100, 1134,
1134.
1134, yes. And then because her 2496 would transfer with her to the county court of law. So he's asking for 48 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Me to the DA. Oh,
No, I'm
I
saying
see.
the 2496, the $1.20 would be transferred to your office. And so then the DA's office would be asking just for the 48 cents.
Okay, at what point does the certificate pay?
Oh, that's not including the survey.
That would be a discussion, unless y'all want to discuss it today. What we would ask for, would like to do there is just have that become a part of the October, the new budget. We're not going to mess with that and try to complicate this for 2 months. We would like y'all to consider.
But I'm
taking care
talking
of
about
that
the
then.
2020 now.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I was asking about the difference,
So it's the
well,
18, you
how it
add-
would impact the budget.
Right.
And
You
if
would-
you're talking, I heard you say
I'm sorry.
you're gonna come in October and then ask for the certificate pay.
That would be it's $1,800 because she has her master's level, which is the highest level.
Okay, so the 1100 plus the 1800.
Well, the 18's already being paid, but it's being paid in the sheriff's office.
Correct.
So it just move over.
So it just,
That's y'all take care of that. I
They
don't
would
say
still
that.
have to have one.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
That's something that the sheriff's office would be included on, I'm sure.
because they might hire somebody that has that master's in that 18
Correct.
states.
Yes, I want to be
Yeah.
very clear, we're not.
So then
learning.
if that happens,
So if you just left theirs alone and did his, it would be about $3,200.
Or if it's everybody's opinion that y'all want me to cut the 48 cents out, then we can cut the 48 cents out, as I mentioned, from that top one. And then you'd be just talking about the certificate pay would be the only difference.
okay. So do you feel like we don't want mutiny, but if y'all could live with the proposal of the 1750, whatever the difference is in the 17 and the 1650?
We can live with that if that would, yes, we can live with that. Just to keep it round numbers, let's just do 1750 rather than 1752.
Okay.
We need to keep walking through this. We need to get him to court by 9.
Okay, he said they could
Can't
live
start
with
now.
what you.
Right.
Dropping it to 1750, removing the 48 cents.
Did you want to make a motion then?
I can make a motion to take action to approve the salary adjustments suggested that we add an additional clerk 5 position, right? That was what we were doing.
Yes,
Adding
all be fives.
okay, adding another 5, since there are already 5s, right?
Laura's position's actually going down. They're going from a paraprofessional 1 to a grade 5.
Okay. At the suggested amounts of $17.50, $17, and $16.50.
And just to clarify, John, does that 17 cause that individual to take a pay cut? See, I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't agree if we have a need, person bringing skills, that they come over and take a pay cut. That just doesn't register with me, folks. I'm sorry to interrupt your motion here, but
Let it be your motion.
I mean, because we're bringing somebody with skills that we're going to utilize, yes?
Yes, sir.
They already know the county, they know the system, they know some of the audit and the inventory.
But Judge, keep in mind that they know that they're taking a pay cut. I mean, and if they're willing to come, wouldn't that be something that they're choosing to do?
Yeah, but, okay. Go ahead. I was making my comments out of order.
Is that effective August 19th or just effective October 1st?
No, we would like it to be effective the 19th, which is when Laura leaves, and that way everything will happen at one time.
Because it's already in the budget, right?
It's already in the
In this year's
budget,
budget.
yes.
Mhm.
So it's just need to clarify.
Well, I need to make it effective August
19th.
19th.
Y'all catching all this? All right. We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. There is a motion before us by Commissioner Walker on agenda item number 2, second by Commissioner Cox. Is there any further discussion?
I have one comment to make. In your questioning, taking a pay cut. In 2003, when we had to lay off with Wyndham School District, teachers and administrators took I believe it was a $3,500 a year pay cut to keep more teachers in the classroom and more administrators on the job. So that is sometimes a common practice in some places when you're doing that, and that actually happened.
And I can also, to add to that, I can actually tell you that back around 2002 or 3, I actually took a pay cut at one point so that I could move from one job to another job that I wanted at the time.
Fair enough.
One more comment. I mean, if you follow up on what Commissioner Walker said, it is a choice.
Sure.
It's not.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Okay.
that's what they can advertise. And
May I ask the court a question real quick?
We're getting ready to take a vote.
Oh, sorry.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You have a question?
I just would like to ask the court, do y'all want me to, is there gonna be a workshop or something for me to come about the certificate pay, or do I need to do that, or do I need to get on an agenda, or do I need to do anything at all?
We have another workshop when, Cherie? We don't. We don't have a budget review?
I don't remember.
We have a hearing coming up, I mean, a public hearing, that's all I know of at this particular time. But I thought we will be discussing the budget prior to adopting it.
Absolutely.
There is
Well,
one, I just don't know when it is.
We'll have one, so you'll have an opportunity to speak now.
Okay.
All right?
Thank y'all for your time.
You bet.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Moving down the agenda to agenda item number 3, Grimes County Court of Law Judge Tuck McLean discuss and take action to clarify policy on transfer of longevity pay for transfer within the county. I think I can resolve this one pretty quick. The term is not longevity, the term is tenure. And people do have that when it transfers.
Yeah, I think it's one of the issues with, I think everybody, when I ask about it, go, oh yeah, that makes sense. But the auditor's office actually said, well, can we get some clarification because it's not actually written down nowhere.
It says a continuous service with Grimes County, it doesn't say with one job. or
Yeah,
whatever,
and that was the deal. The position that I'm filling, the county coordinator is a paraprofessional, one position. Laura is in a paraprofessional one. It's a lateral transfer for her. And really the difference in the salary is basically her tenure pay. And I just wanted to clarify that when she comes over, she'll come over with her tenure pay, which will put her in the same ballpark of where she's making now. I actually think it might end up being a 20-cent raise. We've got the money in, like John's situation, we had the money in the budget. We just need to do line item transfer to cover the last half of August and September. So I don't need to do anything there. I do need to have it adjusted in the budget for next year to compensate for it, because the position is budgeted like 2063, and it'll actually be 2083 plus the whatever across the board.
Yeah.
And I need next year to adjust to that, and then I just, for the auditor's sake, and probably for everybody else's future sake, that tenure pay travels with the person if they move within the county.
Well, when we have that next budget meeting, that would be the opportunity for us to get that in and make an adjustment in your department. Okay.
She's scheduled, well, that addresses the issue on there. I think I have one more item
You
on
do.
the budget,
Right.
on the agenda.
Commissioners, are you all okay with agenda item 3?
Yes.
HR, clarity, everybody, auditors, happy? Okay, all right. Agenda item number 4, discuss and approve temporary employee for 1 week.
I have to go to a conference next week. I have to have some continuing education hours before the end of August. Of course, when I was scheduled to be out of office that week, I had planned on having somebody in my office. I don't now. I've been able to handle phones and responding to emails for the last 2 weeks on my own relatively well. But I don't want to leave the office completely unmanned for a week. And so we have used, we have some part-time employees that are kind of on the list to come in, and one of them in particular has worked in my office a number of times before, and I just need to get the money. And I think Jesse has looked at what I need to get somebody in there for that week, or for that 30 hours. Or I think we actually crunched 50 hours.
Yeah.
I was actually looking to get the latter part of this week and then next week, so I could have her in there for a day or so this week to kind of show her what I need her to do while I'm gone, and then 30 hours next week.
Because you are going to a conference this week, Wednesday.
I'm supposed to go Wednesday.
Because you want to go.
I do want to go very badly, but I'm real nervous about leaving right now.
So Jesse, do you have a dollar amount?
That's $755.54.
And 53 cents?
54.
54.
Is that $13 an hour?
I make a motion to approve a temporary employee for a little bit more than 1 week to the tune of $753.54, which is $13 an hour for the county court of law position. Is there a second? Is there discussion? Hearing none, there's a motion before the court on agenda item number 4 by County Judge Joe Faust, seconded by County Commissioner Philip Cox. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome. Agenda item number 5, there's a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion before the court, Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, we're adjourned.